This is a special edition of Nightline, the calls for help. Now reporting, Amy Robach.
Hi, so I'm dealing with a situation where I'm being blackmailed for money.
In the last days of her life, Lauren McCluskey was begging to be heard.
I think they're trying to lure me somewhere. Do you know when an arrest would be made?
Talking with police over 20 times, crying for help with her ex-boyfriend, a seasoned manipulator who had his sights set on Lauren. At first, she thought he was 28, the handsome bouncer she had met at a bar.
He looked really mature for a 28-year-old.
His true identity, a 37-year-old convicted sex offender out on parole.
Every woman I've met or that came across, that I used my manipulation tactics to get what I wanted.
Now relentlessly stalking, harassing, and blackmailing Lauren. She was the lauded college athlete, lover of music and animals.
I called 911 because I was just concerned.
Her final moments captured on a phone call with her mother, her father immediately calling 911.
And she just started saying, no, 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 no. And it sounded like someone might have been grabbing her or something. No.
What they didn't know then, their daughter was already dead, attacked and shot multiple times. That ex-boyfriend killing the promising athlete in cold blood.
So the last words you heard your daughter say?
No, no, no.
Those 3 words are forever etched in Jill McCluskey's memory. Questions now about why their daughter's cries for help didn't seem to be heard. The University of Utah now on the defensive.
Was Lauren's death preventable?
Yes.
Absolutely.
When you walk into Lauren McCluskey's room at her home in Pullman, Washington, instantly you see all the things she loved and the kind of girl she was. A star athlete whose talents were already being recognized even before her 10th birthday.
Look at these medals.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
So she started competing nationally as a 9-year-old.
Coming in here is still hard.
It's nice though to look at the things. You know, she did a lot in her life. Lauren didn't care what you looked like. She didn't care where you came from. Sort of fearless. You know, every parent says this, but she was a very kind person.
I noticed that she was very athletic from when she was an infant.
It was on the track where Lauren really shined, where she and her good friend Regina Snyder first became close.
We really bonded through our workouts, and then we became really great friends. One of my best friends.
Colleen Hinman first met Lauren over 15 years ago.
My dad wanted me to babysit for them. She was spunky. She had a lot of energy. As she got older, she really blossomed.
They all watched as Lauren grew up and decided to go to college at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City.
She was a senior.
Yes.
It was fall, the beginning of a new year, her very last one at her beloved university. Lauren was at a bar with friends when she met a man. He said his name was Sean Fields, that he was 28 and working as a bouncer. The relationship quickly grew serious. Friends said he'd often visit her in her dorm. But friends grew concerned, telling housing staff Lauren was in an unhealthy relationship. Regina remembers Lauren telling her about her boyfriend.
What made me feel uncomfortable was how he would be calling every single time whenever we would be out, and she would say, I have to get this. I was like, I'm not necessarily comfortable with how he's treating you. Being kind of controlling.
When did you first hear your daughter talk about this man?
In September. He was very charming. He tried to sweep her off her feet. I was concerned that he was a little older than her. I didn't know his
You thought he was
age.
a little older than her, not...
Yeah.
But he was actually 37 years old, something 21-year-old Lauren discovered when she Googled him. Sean wasn't his real name either. It was Melvin Rowland. And most horrifying of all, Rowland had been convicted for attempted forcible sexual abuse and enticing a minor over the internet in 2004 and had been jailed twice since. In a 2012 parole hearing, he seemed to question if he was rehabilitated.
I know I have that capability of reoffending.
Just over 4 weeks after first meeting him, Lauren confronted Roland with what she had learned and broke up with him. But she let him spend the night and borrow her car the next day to run errands.
And so when your daughter tells you, this guy I've been dating is a registered sex offender, what was your reaction?
I said, you're doing exactly the right thing to break up with him.
Were you afraid for her at that point in any way?
I was concerned.
The next day, Lauren tells her mom that Roland wants her to meet him at the stadium parking lot to return her car. Jill, now worried, calls campus police.
I'm worried that he's dangerous. He was lying to her, and he's actually a sexual offender, and lied about his age and things like that. I would just like someone to accompany her.
I will give her a call. Did you want me to give you a call back, or?
Yeah, if you could give me a call back, that'd be good.
Okay, what was your name?
Jill.
Campus police do call Lauren that afternoon. Lauren tells dispatch that Roland has now decided to drop the car off closer to her dorm.
Okay, do you feel comfortable with him doing that? I know your mom was really concerned about it.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay, because if it's all right with you, I mean, we're here 24/7. I'm super cool. You could come hang out here and have him drop it off here.
But Lauren calls back.
I was wondering if I could get a ride to the stadium. Is that okay?
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
An officer accompanies her, and they successfully retrieve her car. Dispatch calls Jill back to let her know.
So thanks so much. I just wanted to make sure that was happening, because I feel like he has a little bit of control over her.
Oh, definitely.
You know, that something bad could happen.
So you felt safe at that point, like my daughter's in a good place, in good hands.
Right, sure.
She'll be protected.
Absolutely.
But things soon ramp up. Just 2 days later, on October 12th, Lauren calls campus police back about some texts she's received.
I got a text about, asking if I wanted to go to his funeral. And I think they're trying to lure me somewhere.
Campus police begins a formal investigation this day, and an officer calls her back. But the next day, Lauren's situation gets even scarier.
I'm being blackmailed for money. It's a photo of me and my ex. They're threatening to send it out to everyone, and he's asking for $1,000.
Dispatch relays that Lauren's being blackmailed to an officer who makes contact with Lauren. She eventually goes in person down to the campus police station, but she seems unsatisfied and worried, so she calls Salt Lake City police.
I wasn't sure how long they were going to take to
Are you in line for an
file
officer
the
to call
arrest.
you?
But because she lives on campus in university jurisdiction, they transfer her back to campus police.
I called 911 because I was just concerned, and I wasn't sure. I thought it might help speed things up. Do you know when an arrest would be made?
You can talk to an officer if you want. I can arrange that if you want that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
That arrest was never made. In fact, officers never even went to see Melvin Roland, and an investigation into the extortion charges didn't start until a week after Lauren reported it. The detective assigned to her case was off. Lauren told her mom she felt like she was all on her own, unprotected by those tasked with keeping her safe.
One thing she did tell me, feels like I'm bothering them, because she was calling so much. And then I remember telling her, it's their job to listen to you, if you're complaining.
But they weren't listening.
No, they weren't. They weren't taking her seriously.
And Lauren's friends reported to campus staff that Roland had talked about wanting to get Lauren a gun. What no one, including campus police, knew yet was that Roland was on parole, what should have been an automatic red flag for law enforcement. Campus police wasn't sharing information with Salt Lake City police, and the parole board never knew anything about Lauren's complaints, a communication gap which would prove fatal.
And they missed the fact that he was on parole.
Lauren had no experience in law enforcement or computers, and yet she was able, with a laptop computer, to find out all of this information. He was a sex offender. He lied about his age. He lied about his name. And yet the police couldn't make this additional leap and discover his parole status, which is public information.
Those are things that should have set off red flags. You don't know necessarily if a suspect is going to go out and commit a violent act, but the fact that you don't know that they're going to do it or not doesn't mean that you just leave them alone. You have to at least do something to make sure the act doesn't occur. In this case, prevent somebody from dying.
It's now Monday, October 22nd.
How concerned were you at this point now?
I had a false sense of security. The police were on the lookout. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that this individual could hang out at her dorm.
But Roland was at her dorm, seemingly lying in wait, hanging out with some of her friends. At about 8 p.m. that night, after getting out of class on her walk home, Lauren calls her mom just to chat like they often did.
She was talking about class projects that she was working on. It was just a fantastic conversation.
Thinking about next semester classes too, she mentioned.
She was planning her future. She was excited about her future.
Totally.
And then all of a sudden she yells, "No, no, no."
Next, Lauren's parents, hundreds of miles away, desperate for answers. Inside the police response.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.